So hi and welcome to Wolf Precision's YouTube channel, and in this episode we're going to talk a little bit about the McMillan A3 and A3-5. So we offer this on our website as a build kit, and this is what we consider our cross canyon rifle. Now the cross canyon rifle is meant for open plains, ridge to ridge, varmint rig, places where you really want to get a lot more of a stable shot, and you really do want a stock that has that capabilities. It does add a little bit of weight to the actual overall weight of the rifle, but what we're looking for is some stability. So I want to take a minute because we do have people that ask, what is the difference between an A3 or an A3-5. So this would be our Cross Canyon. This would be our Cross Canyon Model 2. Now, traditionally these rifles are meant to shoot longer ranges and will have a 22-inch barrel, but it's not uncommon for someone to build a Cross Canyon type rifle and put a much shorter barrel of 18, 19 inches on it because they still want the field ability as far as stability of shooting, but they want a suppressed rifle that's a lot more fast to point and shoot. And so there's some differences there, and we do have people that actually build it in both configurations. So if you want, go back and you can watch our review where we talk about our Cross Canyon, and you'll see that we have this rifle right here. This is a traditional McMillan A3, and in my opinion is probably one of the best fieldable sniper stocks that you can purchase. And I talk a lot about that in the previous video where we talk about why it's so important to have these flat spots on the side and the bottom, why the vertical grip is just so nice for, getting your hand in there and really what I consider driving the rifle rather than going along for the ride. So a traditional hunting rifle stock where the grip goes forward as you're shooting, the rifle is recoiling through your hands. And when you take a vertical grip rifle, you're actually, have much more control of the rifle and as well as a lot more comfort, and you can actually absorb some of the recoil into your hand as well. So the traditional A3, you can go back and you can watch that video. We call that our Cross Canyon rifle. But let's compare it to the A3-5, which is a little bit different. Now this A3-5 has a bumblebee action in it. This is actually a customer is coming in next week to complete his build. But I just wanted to give you an example of what it could be and why. A couple small differences in the A3-5 and why you may want to consider it. The first thing is right back in here where it's going to ride the rear bag. This would be a lot more appropriate for really long range shooting, or if you wanted something that was going to be your long range varmint gun and your long range hunting rifle and maybe something you would run to a match. This is going to ride bunny ear bags or those type of bags a lot better, where the A3 traditionally is meant for fast up and down target changes, and so as you slide your rear bag back and forth, it changes your point of impact faster. Where this one, it's not going to have that effect quite, although this is going to be a lot more stable setting on a solid rear bag. Then a couple small things that you're going to notice is, and it's measurable, it's not groundbreaking, but traditionally the A3-5 seems like it has a little bit wider of an area back here at the grip. So maybe if you have a little bit bigger hands, and ever so slightly wider in the pistol grip area. So if you shoot these stocks a lot, which I do, this is actually my personal rifle, you'll feel it right away. You'll say, wow, it feels different, and it does. And it's only 80 thousandths and maybe 100 thousandths here, but to someone that's used to shooting a particular stock, as soon as you grab a hold of it, it changes how the rifle actually interacts with you. And so the A3-5 has ever so slightly bigger grip area as it comes into the vertical grip. Other than that, the forearms and everything are exactly the same. We always inlet them, and so you can take our steel barrel or any of our carbon fiber barrels. They're sort of interchangeable. We keep the inlet the same for that reason. But the A3-5, where I would use it at, would be like a universal varmint gun, hunting rifle. Someone who really wants to, let's just say you want to take your 6.5 out and run it to a mile. This is going to be a lot more rear bag stability than having a rifle sliding back and dropping off of a rear bag while it's shooting. So I'll give you a little bit of a difference there. And then just again to talk a little bit about the Cross Canyon. This is my personal rifle here. This is in 22 Creedmoor, and of course the suppressor's not on it. And 3 different actions. So of course you've got your Bumblebee, you've got your BT, and then you've got your Bat Tactical Elite. There is a weight difference between them, and there's some feature differences, and I'll talk about that in some future videos. But this one right here is my personal hunting rifle. It's a very simple Bat Tactical Elite action. It has a McMillan A3 fully adjustable. It is painted, and then of course a carbon fiber barrel, and this one is finished at just under 18 inches. So it's short. The painted surfaces, and the last thing I want to touch base on the stocks is if you call and you talk to me about these particular rifles a little bit, you'll hear, you have the option of going with carbon fiber, you got your option of going with some molded imprinted colors, but I actually prefer the painted stocks. It's not a weight thing for me as much as it is, I hunt and I enjoy going out into the outdoors, and if you get your gloves wet, if it's snowing, any of that material, when you go with carbon fiber, even though there's some stippling on it, it's still a very slick surface. And you can get the carbon fiber painted, I know that, but the carbon fiber itself can be very, very smooth, and sometimes in some situations more difficult to hang on to or more slippery. So it can be a little bit more slippery in that situation. Where the painted stocks have, and you can probably hear it a little bit, maybe even in the video, but they have a little bit of texture to the surface. And so with wet gloves or in a situation where you're trying hard to hang on to something, it's not going to be so easy to slide around inside your hands and cause some issues that way. So that's just really a straight up comparison between the A3 and the A3-5. They all have a little bit different bottom metal. So this one has a flat bottom metal in it from Hawkins. This one has more of a tactical bottom metal. Would probably be appropriate if you don't want your 5-round magazine coming up against the bolt body itself. And then of course on mine we have the new MDT 3-round. So it makes it nice and flat through here. So it works almost like an ADL, BDL floor plate. You don't have the magazine box sticking down and rattling and making all kinds of noise or banging off of stuff. The last thing I want to touch base on, which this is a little bit of a bonus point, is first and foremost you got to be very sensitive to some of the things I'm going to talk about as far as nitpicky, and this is nitpicky, but one of the reasons why I like a traditional molded stock a lot, not saying that the chassis aren't coming along. If you listen to podcasts, you'll hear me talk a lot about chassis and how they are really coming on strong. But one of the things I like a lot about a traditional molded stock like this is you don't get that as you're rubbing against things in the wild, or if you have your rifle shoulder and you're walking through alder brush, you don't have that plasticky, dragging and that noise coming off of the chassis that you would, that just vibrates in the wild. It doesn't sound anything like anything natural. So it's like taking a milk jug that's empty or a water jug and walking along and let things rub against it. It's quite loud, and for people that are trying to sneak around, or if you don't want to spot stock, it can really cause some issues. So I really like a molded stock that doesn't have that hollow, or it's a very dead material that it's not going to ring out like a little bit of a bell if things rub up against it or bump against it in the wild. So A3, A3-5, absolutely fantastic stocks. My personal favorites, again, I still hunt with one. I personally think it's probably the best fieldable long-range stock on the market still today, besides some of the new chassis that are coming out, which, by the way, I have been playing with like crazy, and they're growing on me and growing on me and growing on me. So don't be surprised if in the very near future you actually see one of those on my guns in the wild. So it would be a lot of fun. But this is what I've shot with for years. The other thing I want to touch base on this real quick is just what the stock really does. Maybe this will touch base a little bit with you, maybe it won't, but we have lots of instructors that have shot with us for years and years and years, and a lot of them build hunting rifles. And when years pass, a lot of them would start with an A3, and like I said, I've hunted with an A3 for a really, really long time. Some of them have migrated away from the A3 and have tried other stocks and other chassis. And in almost every case scenario, at least the guys that I am very close to, have inadvertently gone back and now have A3s back on their guns again. And I don't say anything as they go through these processes. Stocks are very much, a personal thing as to what fits you well and what you feel comfortable shooting. But after they do that, I'll ask them, why did you come back to the A3? And it's just like, it fits, it shoots, it feels good when you're shooting it, and there's just nothing else, that just tried all these other things, but ended up migrating and coming back to it. So I think it says a lot about the long-term viability of the stock itself, and really a testament to the quality of it and just how good it feels when you shoot it. So thank you for joining us. We really hope you enjoyed the video. If you want, please subscribe. If you want to see when new videos are posted up, of course, click the bell or notification button. So we'll be posting up new videos every Wednesday and Saturday morning. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us.